Recording. Great. Okay. So, welcome to the tutorial. This week, the tutorial exercise is is structured writing time. So what I'd like you to do is take the tutorial questions that are on e-learning. These are the week 2 tutorial questions. Hang on, sorry, there's some folks who just came into the waiting room. Let me let them in. So the week 2 tutorial questions on e-learning and write answers. Because this is supposed to be a learning experience, what I would like you to do is feel free while writing to ask questions. You can ask them in the chat. You can ask them, you can unmute. You don't need my permission to unmute and ask the questions there. And that's how we're gonna sort of run things today. If you finish writing your answers, upload them on e-learning, you are free to leave if you so choose. You're also welcome to stay because your classmates may ask insightful questions, and so you may want to stick around and hear that conversation as the time goes on. So that's how things are going to be set up today, and we will take it from there. So feel free to get started, and if you have questions, feel free to ask them. That's what this time is for. Yes, that's correct. There are 2 pairs of questions on in the tutorial questions. You have to answer one from each pair. So one of either 1 and 2, and then one of either 3 or 4. Okay? You said you had 2 questions, Chris. What's the other one?
Yeah, I thought that this one might have been better explained vocally, if that's all right. I tried taking a whack at number 4 in terms of the fair price question. I know for a fact that it involves the law of body, although I'm not exactly sure what I know, Bryce, what like the direction I'm supposed to be going for this question. Because I'm not sure if, okay, I'm just supposed to state what the law of body is, or if I'm supposed to go like into a hard delve deep and find articles about each different body part and all of these.
You don't need to think this hard about number 4. Okay, the key thing that I want you to think about with number 4 is in terms of what we're asking of a donor and what the benefit that the recipient is receiving, what would be a fair price and why. Okay, now I want to be clear about this, that it is a perfectly reasonable answer to number 4 to say that Kiara, let me finish what I'm saying, and then I will answer that. It is a perfectly reasonable answer to number 4 to say there is no fair price. This particular body part should not be purchasable. Okay. As with all of these questions, the actual answer that you give me, not terribly important. What is important is the reasoning behind it. And so, Kiara, that's why, the question says state the price. But if you say to me, well, the price is, the fair price for a kidney is $100,000 dollars US. Okay, sure, I can buy that. Why? Okay, so if you haven't explained to me why this price is fair in your mind, you have not answered the question. Okay, so all right. Does that answer it? Does that answer the questions relating to number 4? Great, awesome.
I had one more question. I'm not going to do this question, but I just thought for the sake of understanding, I wanted to ask about number 3. Because the Law of Property Act, if I remember, is UK based and numerous clauses. I'm just looking at it from an American standpoint. So is it that, or can geographical, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, seeing that one is in the UK and one is in America, can that be something used to say if one overrides the other?
Okay.
Seeing that Law of Property Act is most likely is going to be used more in.
Okay, let me stop you right there, because I think that you have misunderstood something. That, yes, Professor Rinder is writing about the American context, okay? But as she points out in the complexity article, numerous clauses is not an American concept. This is a common law concept that we're not entirely sure when it begins, but certainly by the 1400s, numerous clauses is already operating under the common law. So this is something that was brought to the United States with the common law with English colonists. And so it is relevant sort of throughout the common law rent. It's relevant in Canada, it's relevant in the Caribbean, it's relevant in the UK, in Malta, Israel, the Philippines. Everywhere that has a common law descended legal system is using the common law numerous clauses. On top of that, Professor Rinder makes the point that a principle like numerous clauses is present in every system of property known throughout the world. Okay, I need to give just a minute, because I need to give my attention to the waiting room for just a second. But I want to come back and finish what I'm saying about numerous clauses for you, Chris. Okay, so just 1 minute. Okay, sorry about that. Continuing what we're saying, right? The Law of Property Act 1925 is received into Caribbean systems through the reception process in independence in the 1950s and 1960s, and 1970s in the case of Belize and Guyana. So the question that I'm asking in number 3 is, in the Law of Property Act, Parliament makes the statement that the allowable interests in land are the fee simple determinable, and the term of years absolute, right? That those are the legal interests in land. All other interests are equitable. And the life estate, I'm sorry, yeah, the fee simple, the life estate, and the term of years absolute. All other interests are equitable. Okay. The question that I'm asking in number 3 is, are Caribbean judges misinterpreting the Law of Property Act when they say that a lease is a personal property interest? So numerous clauses says that leaseholds are not real property interests, right? Again, Professor Rinder says that they are. That's because in the United States they are, okay? But under the common law, and as it's understood in the Caribbean, leaseholds are not real property interests. They are personal property interests. So the question that I'm asking in number 3 is, have we been misinterpreting the Law of Property Act all along by not treating leaseholds as real property? Okay, so that's the question that you're being asked in that piece of the puzzle. Okay, so that's the idea behind the question. No, thanks for asking. I think that this is really, I hope this is really helpful to you guys to sort of hear these conversations in a little more depth. Okay. Hi, Charisse. No, you are uploading your answers on e-learning. And normally I say this towards the end of the session, but let me just go ahead and say it now. You do not have to worry about, don't rush is sort of the key piece of this. Obviously, if you do finish, great, go ahead and upload. If you don't, feel free to take some extra time, finish your answers on your own time, and upload later. Okay? Kira, I think that you're asking about how to upload your answers, and your answers get uploaded on e-learning, and upload them when you finish them. Okay, if you finish them during this session, great. If not, don't worry about it. Okay, get it done on your own time and upload it at a time that's convenient for you. Oh, excuse me, I left my office door open. I'm gonna get up and close it. Yes, thank you, Esha. I should have said that myself. So yes, click on week 2 tutorial questions, and that is where you upload your answers. Hi, Michelle. I'm not sure what you mean by just asking questions in this session, but this is intended to be structured writing time. And again, like that's the idea here, is that you're going to be writing answers, but because you may have questions, you're welcome to ask them. And this is not going to be the only thing that we do in tutorials. That's just this session. Okay. Okay, so question 3, again, right? And this is not, I say again, not as criticism, but just for those who heard it the first time and want to tune out can do so. Question 3. Numerus clausus is this common law principle that says that we can't introduce new types of interests in real property. But the Law of Property Act 1925 says that the term of years absolute, which is a lease, okay, the term of years absolute is a property interest. Now, throughout the Caribbean, judges have insisted that leases are personal property. They're not real property. They're not interests in land. So the question that I'm asking in question 3 is, given the statute, does the doctrine that a lease is personal property make sense? Does the question seem clearer now? Great. So we are approaching the halfway point in our session. If you are looking to submit your answers by the end of the session, now's about the time where I would encourage you to finish up your first question and move on to the second. Leanne, let me pull up the questions. Okay, so this question is referring to something, Leanna, question number 2 is referring to something that was discussed in the intro to property video that I posted, and is discussed in the worksheet and is discussed in the assigned readings. So that's where that question comes from. And basically, in St. Lucia, we have a French-descended system of property that distinguishes between movables and immovables. And in Guyana, we have the Roman Dutch system that is also distinguishes between movables and immovables, but has a slightly different, some different wrinkles. And then in the rest of the Caribbean, we use the English common law system as evolved and developed through statutes and decisions. So the question is, are these really the same? Are these really different systems, or are they the same? And that's what question 2 is asking. And again, as with everything else, the question, the answer that you give is less important than the reason. Okay, there are, I think, reasonable arguments to be made on both sides of a question. So I'm going to butcher your name. Please feel free to correct me. Tanarja?
It's Tanarj.
Tanarj. Okay, thank you. So the answer to your question is that numerous clausis applies to all property. You know, if you remember from Professor Render's article, the example that she gives for the ways that a system without numerous clausis can proliferate difficult and complex conditions on property is with a car, which is not real property at all. It's personal property. So numerous clausis absolutely applies to personal property to the extent that it applies at all, right? And that's sort of the question that number 3 is asking related to realty. So, okay. Okay, we've got about 15 minutes left in today's session. Just a reminder that you are welcome to continue working on these questions on your own time. The purpose of this session is to give you structured writing time and an opportunity to ask questions. So if you are not finished at the end of the session, do not panic. You are welcome to upload when you are finished. Okay, but please do make sure that you upload. Okay, about 5 minutes left. So if there's any other questions, let's get them out. Let's get them in and have a conversation, and then we'll wrap things up.
Hi.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular we should make sure to mention in question 3?
Well, I would say that probably the Law of Property Act is going to be relevant.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not sure what you're asking. So what is there something specific that you're not sure whether you should include it or not? Or I guess what do you,
I was just wondering if you had anything that you was like on your criteria that you really wanted to see in this essay.
mm, I mean, I think that in general, right, the issue is always that you want, you want to be focused on the reasoning rather than on the answer, right? I I am of the belief that with these kinds of questions, the way to organize your answer is to lay out the case for both answers, right? So you're being given a yes or no question. So lay out the arguments for yes, lay out the arguments for no, and then at the end, say which one you find more compelling and why. I think those are going to be the best answers in general. However, if you are really convinced of one side to the point that you don't think you can make a good faith argument for the other side, that's a legitimate answer. Yeah, I think that does that answer your question? Do you feel like I've
Yeah.
answered your question?
Yeah, that, for sure.
Okay, great.
Thanks.
Okay, guys, this is it for our time. So I'm going to wrap things up once again. You are more than welcome to keep working on this and to upload it on your own time. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. So have a good one and stay safe out there.